European diplomats are reportedly meeting with President Trump's team today, November 23rd, in a concerted effort to push back against administration proposals for ending the war in Ukraine. According to a report from Politico, the central point of contention is the idea of a peace deal that would involve Ukraine ceding the Donbass region to Russia. This high-stakes diplomatic push comes as President Trump's second term continues to reshape long-standing American foreign policy, causing significant unease among traditional U.S. allies. The president has long expressed skepticism about the level of American support for Kiev and has publicly stated his belief that he could end the war in 24 hours. The meeting is seen as a critical test for the transatlantic alliance. Sources suggest the European delegation includes senior officials from key NATO and EU member states, such as Germany, France, and Poland, who are deeply concerned about the implications of such a deal. For Eastern European nations, particularly Poland and the Baltic states, the prospect of rewarding Russian aggression is viewed as an existential threat. Their primary argument is that forcing Ukraine to surrender sovereign territory would not only violate fundamental principles of international law, but would also set a dangerous global precedent. European leaders fear that such a move would embolden Russia, potentially destabilizing Europe's eastern flank and undermining the collective security architecture that has been in place for decades. They are expected to remind their American counterparts of the immense financial, humanitarian, and military support Europe has provided to Ukraine, underscoring their commitment to the nation's territorial integrity and the principle that borders cannot be changed by force. On the other side, the Trump administration has framed its approach as a form of pragmatic realism. Officials have argued that the conflict has reached a costly and bloody stalemate, and a negotiated settlement, even one involving difficult concessions, is necessary to prevent further loss of life and to allow the United States to pivot its strategic focus and resources to other global challenges, particularly competition with China. This America First foreign policy doctrine prioritizes ending what the administration views as endless wars and reducing American commitments abroad. The proposal to cede the Donbass is being presented as a potential pathway to a swift conclusion of the conflict. However, critics of the plan, both in Europe and within the U.S., argue that it would be a strategic victory for Moscow, fracture NATO, and ultimately make future conflicts more, not less, likely. The outcome of today's discussions could have profound consequences, not just for the future of Ukraine, but for the very unity of the Western alliance and the global balance of power. That diplomatic pressure is unfolding as President Trump also turns his attention to domestic issues, specifically a recent outbreak of violence in Chicago, which he addressed in a series of social media posts. The president weighed in on a violent riot that erupted in downtown Chicago Friday night, claiming that city residents are now chanting, "Bring in Trump," in a call for federal intervention. The chaos broke out in the city's central business district, known as the Loop, following the annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony at Millennium Park. The event, intended to mark the start of the holiday season in a festive atmosphere, instead descended into violence, leaving 8 teenagers shot, one of whom has died from their injuries. The incident has once again put a national spotlight on Chicago's struggles with crime. According to city officials, the disturbance involved a large group of approximately 300 juveniles in what has been described as a teen takeover, a phenomenon where large, social media organized crowds of young people converge on an area, sometimes leading to chaos. The violence was directed at both civilians and law enforcement. City Alderman Brian Hopkins confirmed that multiple police officers were attacked, with some being targeted with mace and stun guns, leading to at least one officer's hospitalization. The shooting victims were all young, including a 13-year-old, 2 14-year-olds, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 17-year-old. Less than an hour into the riot, a 14-year-old boy was shot near State and Randolph Streets, and later pronounced dead at a local hospital. An 18-year-old was also wounded in the gunfire. In a post on Truth Social, President Trump wrote, "Massive crime and rioting in the Chicago Loop area. Multiple police officers attacked and badly injured. 300 people rioting, 6 victims shot, 1 critical, and 1 dead." He went on to criticize Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, both Democrats, for what he termed their refusal of federal government help for a situation that could be quickly remedied. This rhetoric aligns with the president's long-standing criticism of Democratic-led cities and his positioning as a law and order leader, often threatening to send in federal forces to quell unrest. The violent weekend has intensified an already heated debate in Chicago over crime and public safety. The riot occurred just days after another high-profile crime, in which a 50-year-old man, Lawrence Reed, allegedly set a woman on fire on a Chicago train. Court records show Reed has a lengthy criminal history, with at least a dozen arrests since 2017. Despite prosecutors' requests to keep him detained, a judge had released him with an ankle monitor prior to the train attack. In response to that incident, Mayor Johnson described it as an isolated incident, a comment that drew considerable public backlash. These events have placed the city's leadership under intense scrutiny, fueling a contentious citywide and national conversation about policing strategies, judicial discretion, and the root causes of youth violence. Business owners in the Loop have also expressed growing concern, fearing that such incidents will deter shoppers and tourists during the crucial holiday retail season. While political tensions simmer in the United States, we turn to Eastern Europe, where the focus for many is on more immediate local concerns. In the western Ukrainian city of Lviv, the day is marked by a distinct shift in the weather and a growing sense of the approaching holidays. Residents in Lviv and the surrounding region are waking up to a forecast of wet snow today, Sunday, November 23rd. Meteorologists are predicting the first significant snowfall of the season, a clear sign that winter is setting in. Temperatures are expected to hover right around the freezing mark, with a daytime range between -1 and +1 degrees Celsius. The conditions are likely to create slick roads and a chilly atmosphere across the city, prompting residents to bundle up for the cold as they go about their day. This first taste of winter is a familiar annual turning point for the historic city, but the wintry weather is being met with a contrasting warmth of holiday spirit. Reports from the city indicate that a festive mood is already taking hold, particularly in popular public spaces. At the Forum Lviv, one of the city's major shopping and entertainment centers, the holiday season appears to be in full swing. The mall is said to be filled with a festive atmosphere, which typically includes the early appearance of Christmas trees, elaborate light displays, and the sound of holiday music. For shoppers and families, it marks the beginning of the traditional preparations for Christmas and the New Year. In recent years, many Ukrainians have shifted their Christmas celebration to December 25th, aligning with Western Europe, and this early start to the festive season reflects that cultural trend. This sense of normalcy and seasonal cheer offers a poignant counterpoint to the broader geopolitical issues facing the country. In a nation that has navigated years of conflict and uncertainty, the simple, familiar rituals of the holiday season take on a special significance. The sight of decorations going up and families gathering in a bustling mall is a quiet but powerful symbol of resilience. It reflects a deep-seated desire to maintain cultural traditions and find moments of joy and community. For the people of Lviv, preparing for the holidays is an act of defiance against despair, a conscious choice to focus on light and hope, even as the cold weather arrives and larger political discussions like those happening today in Washington continue to shape the nation's future.